of this broadcast, feel free to share it. You don't have to ask me. You can share it if you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook and you feel compelled to share this. If you are coming into Facebook now live or YouTube live and you trust me and you want your friends who you're connected to hear what I'm about to say, then you can feel free to share it right now. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, exactly everything that I'm going to say. In times like these, words fail. So I'm just gonna process with you. I'm gonna say some things out loud that are running around in my head and sitting with me in my soul. Yesterday, my family and I took a road trip to Big Sur. I live in Bay Area of California, so it's about a 2-hour drive to Big Sur. Never been, and it was beautiful. I mean, we went out to the ocean, but on the way out there, I had some conversations with my daughters, and our family is really fun. Like, we're usually laughing and joking. We're always, if you're on a road trip with us, there's a lot of laughing, a lot of joking, a lot of making fun of each other, mainly a lot of making fun of me. There's a lot of loud music. And all of that was on our road trip yesterday. But part of that road trip yesterday was two of my daughters saying that they had at least once or twice this week since George Floyd was murdered. Let me be very clear about this, that he was murdered. He did not die in police custody, as Tucker Carlson said, or anyone else who is trying to soften the blow of the racism. He was murdered by the police. And my daughters, two of them, talked about having broke down and cried a couple of different times this week. And as a father, that's heartbreaking. And then we had conversations. My 17-year-old, my 18-year-old, and my almost 15-year-old were engaging in what I thought to be adult conversations about this, like talking about their friends who have and who haven't said anything about it, talking about their friends who have and haven't reached out to them. And I thought to myself, like, I don't want my teenagers in high school to have to engage with their friends about racism. I would rather my daughters in this season, like, if they're going to be sad about something, be sad about the fact that my oldest is not going to have a graduation ceremony, or like, them talking to their friends about that, or having conversations about how I can't wait to go to the mall and get back out to normal life, or showing off the new Jordans that my daughter bought because she has a job and she's, she loves Air Jordans. Like, I would rather those be the conversations, but my teenage daughters have to talk about racism. So that's where I'm at right now, with that sort of sitting with that kind of heavy emotion. But to get to the point of why I did this broadcast and why I think it's important that we pay attention to the fact that when Black people were kneeling and on the sidelines of football games, many white folks were saying, that's the wrong way to do it. The president used that as a weapon and used patriotism, weaponized patriotism against Black athletes, called them sons of bitches. I have a friend who was kneeling on the sideline at the time that the president called them sons of bitches, and used that as a political campaign to rally his base. Threw that out to his base of racist white supremacists as like raw meat to dogs, and threw that out there, and they all pounced on it. And I heard so many people and had so many conversations with folks that we're talking about the right way to protest. This is not the right way. This peaceful demonstration, this kneeling on the sidelines, not yelling, not screaming, peaceful demonstration that, mind you, came about in collaboration with an American veteran. That peaceful protest was not the right way to do it. After, I don't even remember the name, to be honest with you. I don't remember which name I should say it was that was an unarmed black man police. There were demonstrations all across America. And I remember, I want to say that the freeway was blocked in Georgia. And as people were crying out, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace, just peacefully marching in the same way that their ancestors had marched on the bridge at Selma, on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, blocking traffic, that we now look back on fondly, that traffic was blocked in Georgia, and white folks were saying that is not the right way. I've gone on Twitter and Facebook, made comments about racism, made comments about white supremacy, written blogs about white supremacy, done podcasts about white supremacy. And early on, I don't get so much of this anymore, but early on, when I first started writing, I remember distinctly when I first started writing, when I first started posting on social media, number one, I no longer work where I used to work in this white evangelical church from doing it. Number two, I had so many people talking to me about the right way to use my social media. Like the right way to talk about it. There's a right way to bring it up. There's a right way to engage in this. And eventually you start to think to yourself, is there ever a right way for Black people to lament injustice through the lens of white people's sensibility? And this is why I say it's a weapon. Because it's weaponized, because anytime we feel an inclination to speak up or to act, certainly my brothers and sisters who are a part of white evangelical church, we find ourselves spending so much time on strategy for how we say it or do it in a way that won't be offensive to white folks. Like, we got to make sure that we craft our words the right way. We got to make sure that we don't put the wrong person in front. We have to make sure that we start with the right theology. We have to make sure that we use and we spend so much time. I literally spent a year on this hamster wheel. A year on that hamster wheel going, okay, well, we'll say this. What if we do this? Okay, we'll do that. We'll make sure that we craft this and make sure that this language is right and this is right. And ultimately what we're talking about is white supremacy does not want to relent and release Black folks into freedom, period. So rather than just come out and say, we don't want you to be equal, we don't want you to have equity, we don't want you to have reparations, rather than do those things, the weapon becomes, let's keep telling you that the way you're going about it is the wrong way. And so now, as Black folks, we see all over the country, I haven't seen many of these demonstrations and these what they're calling violent riots happening all over the country. I haven't seen them. I was out yesterday. I took a sabbatical. I needed the rest. But now what we see happening is Black folks reaching a place of despair and taking to the streets, burning down buildings, looting. And we're saying, once again, this is not the right way to go about it. And I'm not going to even dignify the question and answer for you whether or not I think it's the right way or not. But I will say this. America, when America wanted her independence, When America wanted freedom from British oppression, what did America do? How did they go about getting their freedom? When America was attacked on 9/11, and Jeremiah Wright called it America's chickens coming home to roost, what was America's response? It was a war on terror, right? It wasn't even a strategic war. We didn't even identify who the enemy was. We didn't even set a date and time. We didn't even have rules of engagement. We just went, we were attacked on a 9/11, and now we're going to move into a war on terror that will not end until we have eliminated who or what from the world. Terrorists? Because if the war on terror was about ending terrorism, then we still have work to do in America, and America needs to turn their weapons towards themselves. Because what we witnessed, and I haven't watched the video, and I will not watch the video. It pains me to know that my daughters saw the video. But if what we witnessed from George Floyd to Ahmaud Arbery to Breonna Taylor, if someone can walk into your home with a no-knock warrant with impunity and fire shots while you are sleeping and murder you, and then take your boyfriend to jail and charge him with attempted murder because he tried to defend you, if that's not terrorism, I don't know what is. If putting your knee on someone's neck who's begging for his life and feeling the life underneath your knee go out of his body, if that's not terrorism, I don't know what is. And so I urge every one of you who's watching this, especially those of you who are faith-based, we are long past the season of trying to find the right way to convince racist people that racism is a clear and present danger to our country, a clear and present danger, not just to Black people. It's a clear and present danger to the ideas and ideals of American democracy. To be honest with you, whatever the hell that means. Stop waiting for the right way. There ain't no right way to convince racist people. There's not. We've tried every possible way. Black folks in this country, first off, I've said this for many weeks now, Black folks in this country who hold to religion, especially the religion of Christianity in this country, should be applauded, should be listened to, because they are living from a place of a moral ethic that transcends what American Christianity actually presents. Because they don't have privilege, because they're watching Black bodies drop in the streets. They are becoming more and more aware of how much white supremacy has influenced theology in this country, and yet they still remain prayerful, meek, joyful, peaceable, long-ass suffering, patient, kind. And I'd also say, we need to stop wasting our time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time trying to convince white folks that don't want to be convinced that no matter what they see, that the reason I don't watch the video, I don't need to watch the video of what happened to Ahmaud Arbery or George Floyd to know that this country has shown a pattern of hatred for Black and brown people. I don't need to see that. Stop sharing that video with racist white folks thinking that that's going to be the thing that wakes them up. It's not. It's not. It's not going to. That's not what wakes them up. Stop trying to convince people that our president is. Whew, I caught it. I caught it. Stop trying to convince people that our president is racist. They're not. That don't believe that. They're not going to believe it. It's a waste of your energy, a waste of your effort. Our effort is best used talking to, with, joining our efforts together with people who don't need to be dragged into the truth, but people that are like right there and just like, what do I do? The people asking the question, what do I do? And the people who are willing to listen when the answer is donate your money, your resources to people of color who are doing this work on a regular basis. Hire, pay well. Because here's why you pay well. Black folks that are willing to do this work, because we need hazard pay for doing this. This is emotionally, mentally taxing on Black folks willing to do this work. Black folks willing to stand on the front lines and scream for our dignity, for our right to be citizens in America. So if you hire somebody, especially if you're a church and you hire somebody or you ask somebody to help you with this and you expect them to do it for free, that is damn near slavery. And you should be ashamed of yourself because you know you got money to pay them. So yeah, put your money where your mouth is. And the other answer, not just put your money where your mouth is, but like, how do you deal? So if you're not a person of faith, don't go to church, not a Christian, whatever, you can check out now. Thank you for watching, whatever. But if you are a Christian, you're a pastor, how have you dealt with every other known sin? How have you dealt with people who were shacking up, which ain't even a sin? But how have you dealt with people who were shacking up? How have you dealt with people who from the LGBTQ plus community? Which is, again, I affirm, and I'm not sitting here saying that those people are evil or sinning, but I'm talking to you who are Christians who have said, hey, if you are engaged in this type of lifestyle and doing these sorts of things that we don't agree with, that's my point that I'm making. So I want to be very, very clear as I say that. These things that we don't agree with, how have you dealt with them? You have dealt with them by saying, you are not a leader in our church. You cannot lead because you are living in such a way that we don't agree with. So if you really do not agree with racism, stop putting racist people in leadership. Stop letting racist people volunteer at your church. Stop letting racist money dictate when and how you talk about racism. Okay. I'm gonna be done now because I can feel myself feeling enraged and I don't want to harm. I prayed before I got on this call. See, I prayed before I got on this live that I do no harm because I don't want to harm anybody. I have no problem offending people who are racist. I could give two shits if racist people are offended by what I say. But I don't want to harm people on their journey. And some of the things that I feel are too strong for everybody. And some well-meaning good people could be harmed. So I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you guys who shared this, who watched it again. If you watching the replay and you watch all the way to the end, feel free to share this video. And the last thing I'll say, and I say this somewhat reluctantly, because I understand, my heart feels a great tension, but I feel like it's necessary because some of you are like, what do I do? How do I help? I have a Patreon, and I'll put the link in the comments below on Facebook, and I'll put the link in the comments below on YouTube that you can be a supporter of today. That's a start for you. And you can join this journey. You can become a part of that Patreon community. You can engage in dialogue in that community. You can engage in dialogue in the private Facebook that is a part of that Patreon community, that Patreon. And you can ask questions, and you can learn and grow. It's not a place to art. It's a space that's curated for people who want to learn and grow. Not for it's not a space where I'm going to be arguing with people. I'm not even doing it on my public Facebook. I'm done arguing with people about racism. I'm done convincing white folks that whiteness is an evil construct. If you want to cling to that, cling to it. Hold on to it. But I am done waiting for you to come along with us on a journey to freedom. You're not coming. Cool. Stay where you're at. God bless you all. Grace and peace.